Hello and welcome to a new lesson, Definition of Language by Bernard Bloch and George L. Trager. Lecture 6. Bloch and Trager define a language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group cooperates. Here the first important term to understand this definition is arbitrary. What we call arbitrariness in linguistics is the central part of discussing language. And what is arbitrary? There is no connection between the word, sound, and the name or object given to it. What is this? Look here, we have here the picture of book. The picture is one, but we call it book in English language. So what I mean to say is that in Arabic language, we call the same object, the same picture as kitab. In Hindi language, we call the same object as pushtak. And in different languages, we have different words for the same object. So what we come to understand is that there is no scientific connection between the word book, pushtak, kitab, and the object and the name given to it. If there is a scientific connection, if there is a logical connection, if there is a permanent connection, if there is a God-gifted connection between the object, between the picture and the word given to it, name given to it, it means that we cannot change it. The same object will be known by the same name everywhere in the world. But that is not so. What we call this arbitrariness. This is the arbitrary way of expressing or naming an object or a picture or a thing. Take another example. That's in the second picture you can see a sky. We call it in English a sky, S-K-Y. The object is the same, but the word in English is a sky. But in Arabic we call it falak. In Urdu we call it asman. In Hindi we call it akash. And in different languages we have the different names for the same object, for the same thing, for the same picture. So is there any logical connection between the object and the words given to it, or between the object and different sounds of words with which we speak and name them? Is there any logical connection? Is there any scientific connection? So this idea of an object being represented by many different words depending upon the society you belong to, culture you belong to, language you speak, this is known as arbitrariness. And this is very important to understand this definition. That is why they say a language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols. Now, we have the next part, vocal symbols. What do you mean by vocal symbols? Vocal symbols, in fact, they refer to phonetic symbols. And you know, we have 44 phonetic symbols in our English language. Sometimes we also call them by another name, phonetic alphabets. And that's why we have IPA, what we call International Phonetic Alphabet. They represent sounds of the language. So a language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group cooperates. And when we say a social group cooperates, it means any group, small or big. You may have a group of friends, you may have a group of people in the society, you may have a group of people in the country. So what we mean to understand with this definition is that a language is a system of arbitrary vocal sounds, vocal symbols, and with the help of which a particular social group interacts, talks, speaks, and cooperates with each other in different areas of human experience. And this definition of language is really very comprehensive, very beautiful. I suggest you should memorize this definition by heart. Now let's go to the review of lesson. A language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group cooperates. Bloch and Trager. Hope you understand or the concept of this definition in this brief discussion. Thank you and goodbye.